Hockenheim in Germany played host to round 12 of the championship, and once again it was perfect conditions here at this iconic circuit. The big story coming out of qualifying was that Max Verstappen stole pole from the Ferrari Kimi Raikkonen and signed a possible comeback for two of the biggest teams on the grid to launch a possible challenge for more race wins going into the second half of the season, which we will have to see. Sebastian Vettel lines up just behind his teammate in third, ahead of Valtteri Bottas, who had a great qualifying considering his shocking performance in Hungary, along with McLaren's Fernando Alonso in 5th place. Mercedes once again had a disappointing performance for the Silver Arrows, as Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg were both knocked out of Q1, along with Red Bull's Daniel Ricciardo, who found it very difficult to adapt to the conditions at the Hockenheim circuit. The championship leader and contender Hayden Goodis was just missed out of Q3 by only 56 hundredths of a second, but was tactically set his time on the soft tyre, indicating he may be possibly starting on a harder tyre for the race and has a free available option of tyre to choose from, with his teammate Nico Hülkenberg in the top 10, qualifying in 7th position. It is now time for race time. It is the German Grand Prix, and now I pass you over to Hayden.
What is up, people, and welcome back to part 75 of my F1 2016 career mode here at the German Grand Prix. And before we get into today's episode, I'd just like to say a massive thank you to each and every one of you for the massive amount of support that you are giving this series. We are at the 75th episode and the support is still going strong, which is absolutely amazing. But getting into today's video, and in qualifying, it wasn't exactly the worst qualifying session. We qualified in P12. We could have done a lot better. Unfortunately, we were on the soft tyres and we just missed out because we messed up the strategy, unfortunately, within the last couple of minutes of the qualifying session. That's when the AI set loads of good times and unfortunately knocks us out of the getting into Q3. So that is unfortunately what happened there. But there is Max Verstappen on pole position. Surprise result in qualifying. Really surprising result there for the young Dutch driver. But it shows that maybe Red Bull and Ferrari are now coming back into this career mode. So we could have a very tasty battle with the likes of those two teams. Before we get into today's German Grand Prix, let's take a look at the starting grid. It's Max Verstappen lining up in pole position, beating the Ferrari of Kimi Raikkonen to the top spot. But Kimi Raikkonen lining up on the first row of the grid in second place. Good result for both of the Ferrari drivers, as Sebastian Vettel lines up just behind them in third place. Valtteri Bottas also on the second row of the grid. A good qualifying session there for the Williams driver, qualifies in fourth place with Fernando Alonso fifth, and Carlos Sainz alongside him on the third row of the grid. My teammate Nico Hülkenberg and championship rival, new championship leader Nico Hülkenberg, is 7th on the grid, with Jolyon Palmer in 8th. Danny Kvyat lines up in 9th with Kevin Magnussen in 10th. Then we've got Rio Haryanto and myself lining up on the 6th row of the grid. Both of us having the fresh, clean strategy. So don't be surprised if we are definitely in for a fight for the race win here today. Roman Grosjean, he qualified in 13th with Jenson Button. Not a good qualifying session there for the McLaren driver, qualifying down in 14th. Then you have Pascal Wehrlein 15th, Felipe Massa 16th on the grid. Daniel Ricciardo, Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton all getting knocked out in Q1. Disappointing there for those three drivers. Then you have Esteban Gutierrez 20th, Ericsson 21st, and Felipe Nasr rounds out the grid. So that is your starting lineup ahead of today's German Grand Prix. Let's head down to the track for today's race strategy. Race strategy then for today's race, and the team want me to go for a medium, soft, then super soft strategy. I think I'm going to stick with that one. We are starting on the medium tyres, so hopefully our softs and our super softs will last a little bit longer, but I don't think it's going to be stretched enough to only do a one stopper. So we're going to stick with a two stopper. I think that's what most of the other drivers in the field are going to be doing here today. And it's a very tight turn one, so we've got to be careful down towards turn one, because we do not want to get our nose in there and completely ruin our race, like what happened at the Hungarian Grand Prix, where we were a bit eager at the start of the race. Unfortunately had that collision with Rio Haryanto and Max Verstappen, and unfortunately lost our front wing. So we'll be hoping for something different here today. But let's head back to the starting grid for today's German Grand Prix. Here we are then on the grid for round 12 of season 4. The lights coming on now. It's 5 red lights, lights out, and away we go for today's German Grand Prix. Not the best start compared to the guys ahead of us, but down towards turn 1 we do have the inside line. We're just going for a little lunge, a little cheeky lunge up the inside. Don't want to dive it up there too much, but we do get the position away from Rio Haryanto. Now down in towards turn 2 up the inside of both Renaults and my teammate, and a Ferrari as well. Nearly going into the back there of the McLaren of Fernando Alonso, losing the back end ever so slightly, but we have made up a good amount of positions over the first couple of corners on the first lap here on lap 1 of today's German Grand Prix, tucking up behind the McLaren of Fernando Alonso, currently in P6. Can we get any positions down towards the hairpin? We're deciding against it, but we're going for a bit of a cutback move. There's contact there for Kimi Räikkönen. That's holding us up massively as we've got a terrible exit out of the corner. That allows the leaders to get away now, but side by side with the McLaren driver. Maybe have a look up the inside now of Kimi Räikkönen as well, which we do. Up the inside of the Ferrari driver and already up into P4 in today's German Grand Prix. Max Verstappen already having a huge lead in today's race. Not too sure what they have put in that Red Bull car, but that is very, very quick here on the opening lap of the German Grand Prix. Tucking up behind Valtteri Bottas now and Carlos Sainz, who is in second and third respectively. We've got Kimi Räikkönen right behind us, so here we're looking to try and get past us very, very soon. But that was an amazing start, and that was a perfect start to this German Grand Prix. We've got above our championship rival of Nico Hülkenberg, and we're already up into P4 from P12 on the grid. What a start, and that's exactly what we needed here today. Down in towards turn 1 now. Very, very tight corner. Oh, we lose the back end a little bit, running it slightly wide onto the curb. That's going to allow Kimi Räikkönen to have the look around the outside, down in towards turn 2. He's trying it, but he's just not quick enough to get the position on us, and we tuck back into P4. Kimi Räikkönen has to settle for P6 now, but we're watching on board with my teammate who's lost out a few positions. He's going for the overtake now on the other Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel, looking to get past him down in towards the hairpin. Will he have a look up the inside of Fernando Alonso as well? Yes, he does, late on the brakes, up the inside of the McLaren driver, and there he goes, moving up into what is P8, I believe that is at the moment. Yes, P8. Nico Hülkenberg up into P8 and just behind Jolyon Palmer in the Renault. Right, let's have a look at replay of what's happened at the start of today's race. So down in towards turn 1, just a little sneaky move up the inside of Ria Haryanto there. Nice driving for the both of us, giving each other enough room through turn 1, but being able to go side by side as well. Then we dive it up the inside, down in towards turn 2. Get very close there to the McLaren driver. Squeeze out Nico Hülkenberg, who gets pushed into Sebastian Vettel. There was no contact between me and Nico Hülkenberg, but there was contact there between him and Sebastian Vettel, which we will get a better look at here on this replay. And I think he made contact with the Renault of Kevin Magnussen as well, down in towards turn 2. Oh, there we go, just a little bit of contact as he tries to move away from us up the inside. He turns into Sebastian Vettel and loses a bit of his front right end plate. So disappointing start there for my teammate, but we are right on the back of Valtteri Bottas now here on the end of lap 2, start of lap 3. Can we get past the Williams driver down the DRS straight, down in towards turn 1 now, tucking up behind? No, we won't have to worry about that, as Valtteri Bottas has had a massive engine blowout just ahead of us. Very lucky not to get caught up in that. We could have easily gone into the back of Valtteri Bottas, but we did slow it down. We were very, very cautious through turn 1, just in case Valtteri Bottas made a very quick dart over to the side of the track to get out of the way of everybody else. But now we're back on board with Nico Hülkenberg as he tries to move up into what would be I think this is P6 at the moment. No, P7. He's trying to get he's in P7. Trying to get P6. We'll get my maths correct in a minute. But there goes Nico Hülkenberg around the outside in towards the long curve and down in towards the hairpin. He doesn't even have to worry about getting a position. He's already done it. He's already up into P5 now and tucking right behind Kimi Räikkönen, who is currently running in P4. Yes, because I'm in P3. Yes, that is correct. So Nico Hülkenberg up into P5 at the moment, hunting down Kimi Räikkönen for P4, and he will be hunting us down as well as he goes to the right hand side on the Ferrari driver. And there he goes, Ferrari driver Kimi Räikkönen in his mirrors, exactly where Nico Hülkenberg wants him to be. But that's bad news for us, as it's going to mean that Nico Hülkenberg is going to be hunting us down on those quicker super soft tyres. He's on the super softs, we're on the mediums for the start of this race, so he is going to be quicker over the course of the next couple of laps. But here we are on the end of lap 5 now, start of lap 6. It looks like the two leaders of Max Verstappen and Carlos Sainz have come into the pit, so we're not going to have to worry about overtaking those two too much at the moment, as we've moved up into the lead of the race, past Max Verstappen, past Carlos Sainz. And there we go, with a nice comfortable lead at the moment over Nico Hülkenberg. But here we are cutting ahead to the end of lap 6 now. And it looks like my teammate of Nico Hülkenberg is now deciding to come into the pit lane. So, I'm not going to have to worry about Nico Hülkenberg for the time being. But we may come together once again by the end of the races. Here we are on lap 12, watching on board with Romain Grosjean going side by side with a McLaren of, I believe that is Jenson Button. Which it is, as Jenson Button gets the overtake there on Romain Grosjean. Now down in towards the long curve. No, he's not going to be doing that, as he's had an engine failure like Valtteri Bottas did earlier on lap 3, and he pulls over to the side of the track and is out of today's German Grand Prix. Disappointment there for Roman Grosjean. I think he was running in the top 10 at that stage of the race, but we cut ahead now to lap 16 as we are going to be making our first pit stop in today's race. So coming into the pits on this set of medium tyres, we've got a nice comfortable lead over the rest of the guys behind us, but will it be enough to stay in the lead of the race? Have we done enough over the likes of Max Verstappen and Carlos Sainz and of course Nico Hülkenberg, who wasn't too far behind us when he came into the pits, to stay in front of those guys? So far so good, still in the lead of the race. A 2.3 second stop there from the Force India crew. Coming out of the pit lane now, where is Carlos Sainz? There he is, going through turn 1 now, and yes, we've still got the lead of the race here at this German Grand Prix. So it looks like the strategy has worked out for us so far in today's race, but Carlos Sainz could be quicker than us at this circuit and could certainly try and get past us. Now this is a replay of what happened while we were serving that pit stop. Max Verstappen getting past Rio Haryanto down in towards the hairpin side by side, and Rio Haryanto just trying to look around the outside into the hairpin. Can he hold it? Can he hold position? Not quite. And that's how Max Verstappen got it up into P6. But Rio Haryanto having another look up the inside now in towards this fast right-hander, down into what would be the stadium section through this left-hander now. Max Verstappen still holding up the inside. We know that the Red Bull driver is very aggressive, but he is also quite considerate as well, giving each other enough room at the moment as they go through that corner. Still side by side though between the two drivers, Rio Haryanto in the Manor versus Max Verstappen in the Red Bull, down in towards the stadium section now, in towards this left-hander. Still side by side. How on earth are they doing this? Still side by side between the two AI drivers. Rio Haryanto looked to have had the position there, but Max Verstappen just about darts in front of him. And that is how he got 6th place away from Rio Haryanto. Nice AI battling there. I haven't really seen it too much in today's race. Just seen Nico Hülkenberg making very, very easy overtakes on AI drivers. But there was some very nice battling between Rio Haryanto and, of course, Max Verstappen as well, as we're watching on board with Rio Haryanto's teammate, Pascal Wehrlein, running just behind the Mercedes of Nico Rosberg. No, there's been a puncher. You just saw his tyre burst. His rear left has gone in towards the stadium section. He spun the car as well with that rear puncher, getting very close to some AI drivers there, nearly completely wiping them out. And Pascal Wehrlein has pretty much ruined his race with that puncher. Not too sure why it has occurred. I don't think it's quite like what we had at the Hungarian Grand Prix, where we took our tyres maybe a bit too far. He could have done that, but that is a lot of smoke now coming off the back of that Manor car as Marcus Ericsson gets past him, and Pascal Wehrlein currently down in 20th place right now. So disappointing for the Manor driver, all the way down the back of the field. He only has Felipe Nasr behind him, who I think is going to get past him very, very soon, down in towards the next couple of corners. There he is. No! He's gone into the back of him, putting him into a spin. And now we're going to get very close to Felipe Nasr. Very, very close there with the Sauber driver. Felipe Nasr coming onto the track in a very dangerous way, nearly completely wiping us out. And Pascal Wehrlein, for some reason, was off the track. There he is, still off the track. Not too sure what has happened there to Pascal Wehrlein, but I think he is just about going to make it into the pit lane. Is Pascal Wehrlein? Yes, he does. There he goes, finally into the pits for the Manor driver, and that is so much smoke coming off the rear left of his tyres. Not too sure what has gone on there for Pascal Wehrlein, but we are on board with Nico Hülkenberg in the battle for 2nd place. So this is happening quite a bit behind myself at the moment, down in towards turn 2 and in towards turn 3 now for Nico Hülkenberg. Down in towards the hairpin of turn 6. No, can Nico Hülkenberg get past Carlos Sainz? He's going to do it round the outside of the long curve. Easy overtake at the end of the day for Nico Hülkenberg. There's Carlos Sainz in his mirrors. Carlos Sainz very late on the brakes though, but not enough to go for the overtake. And there we go, Nico Hülkenberg up into 2nd place. And at the moment, it's a 1-2 for Force India, which is good for the Constructors' Championship, but not good for ourselves in the Drivers' Championship at the moment. Let's have a look at a replay though of what's happened to Pascal Wehrlein. So look in his left mirror at the moment. Just watch his tyre go. There it goes. There goes his left rear left. And as he goes in towards his right hand, he's just carrying a bit too much speed for a puncture tyre. Loses the back end. And gets very close there to, I think that was Daniel Ricciardo in the Red Bull car. They're so close to the Red Bull. And here's a replay of when Felipe Nasr went into the back of him, in towards this right-hander as well. And I think once again, he was just carrying a bit too much speed with that rear left puncher. Lost the back end. And as he tries to get out of the way, he's just sort of stuck on the grass. I think Nasr then comes into the pits and he reverses up into the barrier, damaging his car even more. But let's have a look. Oh, there goes Felipe Nasr into the back of him, in towards this right-hander. And was he carrying too much speed? He wasn't really carrying that much speed. So I'm not too sure why Pascal Wehrlein's car decided to do a sort of half spin there, but here's on board with Felipe Nasr. So did he just carry too much speed right behind Pascal Wehrlein? Yeah, he just didn't even consider that Pascal Wehrlein was going slowly. I think the yellow flags had literally come in for a split second then, as he gets very close there to my car, so close to wiping me out. That could have been my race over just then, but here we are on lap 27, coming through the final corners now as we come into the pits for our second pit stop in this race. We're going to be coming onto a set of super soft tyres, which we will be taking till the end of the race. We'll want another quick pit stop to try and stay ahead of the likes of Nico Hülkenberg and Carlos Sainz, who have already made their second stop. So they've been running it slightly quicker on their sets of soft tyres. So they could be very close to us as we come out of the pits now. Where is Nico Hülkenberg on the track? There he is, going through turn 1. Who's going to come out on top? It's Nico Hülkenberg, who gets the lead of the race on those older soft tyres. But we are on a fresher set of super soft tyres. We just need to get them up to temperature, and then we can start to battle with Nico Hülkenberg. But we need to get past him as soon as we possibly can, because otherwise if we stay stuck behind him, we are going to wear these tyres out very, very quickly, and we do not want to do that with 6 laps left to go in this race. We go up the inside. Do we up the inside of the hairpin? Yes, we do. A slight little lunge up the inside of our teammate. We leave him enough room on the exit of the hairpin, down in towards this fast right-hander. Nico Hülkenberg having a better exit, a better purchase out of the hairpin, down in towards this left-hander, and it looks like we have got the lead of the race over Nico Hülkenberg, taking away first position from my other Force India teammate. And there we go, into the lead of the race, into the lead of the German Grand Prix. A race which I did say would be a struggle to try and get a good result. And at the moment, we are leading it. So it looks like we are doing a good job at the moment at today's German Grand Prix. But there are still 6 laps left to go, and anything can happen over those guys as we cut ahead to the end of lap 29 now. So what is going on here as we come down towards the start-finish line. 4 laps left to go in today's race, and there we are, setting the fastest lap of today's German Grand Prix, which is exactly what we want to do. Just increase the gap over Nico Hülkenberg as we try and get the race winners. Here we are on lap 34 now of 34, the final lap of today's race. It's been a dominant drive from myself, and going through this last lap, I was just taking it easy, just making sure that I did not make a single mistake over the course of this last lap. Otherwise, I would have completely thrown it in if I made one single mistake. As we come around the last couple of corners there, Nico Hülkenberg not too far behind us, but it's not going to matter at the end of the day. We come round the final corner to put ourselves back on the top step. It's another win here today at the German Grand Prix. A solid race there from myself at today's German Grand Prix, getting another race win on the board, especially after the disappointment of Hungary and Britain, as Nico Hülkenberg finishes in second place. Then we had Carlos Sainz in third, Jenson Button fourth, Danny Kvyat in fifth, Ria Haryanto in sixth, Max Verstappen seventh, Lewis Hamilton in eighth, Kevin Magnussen down in ninth, and Nico Rosberg getting the final championship point here today. Jolyon Palmer finishing in 11th, and Kimi Raikkonen getting 12th. So both those guys disappointed to miss out on points, but it looks like the 2-stop strategy was the way to go. As you can see, Max Verstappen on a 3-stopper finished down in 7th despite starting in pole position. Then you have the likes of Kimi Raikkonen as well, started 2nd, did a 3-stopper, finished in 12th. So I do not know what went on there for those two drivers, but although it looked like Kevin Magnussen did actually gain a position because of the 3-stop strategy, so maybe it was just a case of a bit of luck and where you came out, if you came out in traffic or not. Looking further down the field then, Sebastian Vettel down in 13th place despite starting third on the grid. Then you have Fernando Alonso as well, started 5th, finished 14th, once again doing the 3-stop strategy, which definitely wasn't the way to go in today's race. Felipe Massa finished in 15th, Daniel Ricciardo 16th, Esteban Gutierrez 17th, Marcus Ericsson 18th. Then you have Pascal Wehrlein, who had that puncher, finishing down in 19th, Felipe Nasr 20th, and Roman Grosjean and Valtteri Bottas were the two drivers who did not finish. Driver standings then after today's race, and the gap has come down to 15 points before the summer break going in towards the Belgian Grand Prix. So there is a huge gap to catch up to Nico Hülkenberg, but we're going into 2 races where I feel like I can be completely dominant at and get some really, really good race results. Belgian Grand Prix one of those tracks where I think I'm just quicker than the AI anyway, and I think that's the case for a lot of other drivers. And Italy is another one of those where you're just very, very quick compared to the AI drivers. But you do need to get the strategy right at both of those tracks, so hopefully we can do that and increase and try and get the championship lead back from Nico Hülkenberg, and then increase it further as we get to the Italian Grand Prix. Carlos Sainz not too far behind us, but still dropping some points here today. Constructors standings then, and 337 points is how many we have got on the board at the moment after a fantastic 1-2 for myself and for Nico Hülkenberg. 143 points is the gap to Toro Rosso, who are kind of now in a battle with Renault and Honda over the second place spot. Manor maybe getting into there as well, and possibly even Ferrari depending on upgrades over the rest of the season. But it's certainly looking like our championship to lose at this stage of the season, the halfway stage of the season, and with only 10 races left to go, less than that. So there's not long left to go in this season, so I think the Constructors' Championship is definitely wrapped up for the Force India team. But that is it for today's German Grand Prix. If you have enjoyed the episode, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, share this video with your friends, and I'll see you next time at the Belgian Grand Prix, one of my most favourite tracks on the whole entire F1 calendar. But until then, it's goodbye from me.